Look at me and tell me what you see. I look at you and tell you what I feel. Look at me and tell me what you see. I look at you and tell you what I feel.
How's it going, everybody? Emperor John Kill 3D Gaming here with another video, and it's about the recent expansions to Evil Dead the Game. Evil Dead the Game has been getting a lot of support, and I'm glad to see the developers are really fans of this franchise, because everything they've added is stuff that is great additions to the game. They've also added a lot of free stuff, but there's also a lot of paid stuff, but the paid stuff really not even being all that expensive and very accessible to get almost makes it even worth it to continue to support this game. Now, we don't know as in terms of what characters will be next, maps or modes, but they have added to what was already in the game itself, plus adding new characters and a map, but it's a very massive map, and extensions to the different modes, which were very needed from day one. Like, they have the characters from the 2013 movie and two characters from Army of Darkness. From the 2013 reboot, we get Mia and David Allen, the two brothers. Remember Mia being the possessed chick in the cellar who gets her soul redeemed in the end, and her brother David, who is basically the Ash Williams stand-in, but without having to take over for Ash Williams. Now, it was great to see these characters put into the game, because it's nice that a video game is trying to encompass all of what is from the Evil Dead franchise, whether they be strictly from the films, the shows, the rebooted movie. Hell, I hope they pull from some comic book content, and they pulled from Army of Darkness, which is one of the most highlights of the franchise. And these characters, like, they also added the Deadite Witch, if you remember the witch that Ash shot up, who had the pot in Army of Darkness, and the blacksmith character. So that's 4 characters added to this game beyond what was already added. And the one who has the unique abilities out of all of them, surprisingly, is the blacksmith. But I will explain that when I get to their segments of his segment of the gameplay, because we also have different segments of the gameplay. The only one I didn't get a chance to really cover was the Witch Deadite, but she plays very similar to Henrietta, so I think it would just be redundant to add her, but I do show what she looks like. She's called the Plaguebringer class. She's meant to poison everybody to slow them down, so she's a poison type of Deadite class, which would make sense for being a witch. Now, you have to put a lot of time into using the Deadites properly in order, and that's the thing. That's the one thing about this game, is just when using the Deadites, the Deadite learning curve is still very high. You know, you do have a better chance playing the Survivor than you do playing the Deadite. I mean, I've had my fair share of highlight matches playing as the Deadite, but I admit I'm not that good. I'm actually use the Deadite just to farm points, because anything you do with the Deadite just gets you points, whether it just be scaring everybody, sicking your minions at them, anything of that sort. But it's at least good that another character monster was added from the films, and it makes the game even feel more expansive. But then when you go to the collections tab, you get the little remember how I told you in the review, the little single player bits that are based on either events from the films or the shows, kind of like to give you a reason to do the mission. So they have a mini one based on the 2013 movie, and a mini one based on Henry the Red, along with another one coming soon. So I just gotta, and there's new like Nobi records. See, the Nobi records are good to listen to because they're just pulled right from the films. The dialogue Nobi uses are just pulled straight from those areas. Now, another thing they did do to this game, which is much appreciated, was they gave you some extended modes. So exploration just allows you to be dropped into a map, kind of like a free roam, just collect weapons and you just fight endless waves of Deadites. But it lets you play in the entire map of, so far, I think there's 5 maps now. All 5 maps, or 4. But what these characters can do in the gameplay is what is the most important. Now let's look into David. David, out of all things, you would think he would be in the warrior class or something that more in tune with fighting because of how the kind of character he tried to be. Like he was trying to be the strong brother character in the film. But he's a support character, and you would think that's very off-putting. And it is, but appearances can be deceiving. What David can do is create a portable fireplace, or at least burn a casket of blue flame, which is used to lower your fear level, and it lowers it down quicker, especially if you level it up, compared to finding a torch in the world. Let's say if you're stuck in the world right now, and your fear level is high, giving a chance for the demon character or the demon player to possess you, or you could be jumped by a lot of the minions. David could at least help the whole team, because this not only just works for you, this aids the whole team. You lower the fear level, and having your chance of not being seen even better or more effective. And I think they added in a quality of life feature where now certain weapons fit certain character types. Like every character can use every weapon in the game. And there's also a multitude of new weapons like medieval maces, new golden type revolver weapons, new melee weapons. Every weapon in this game, every new weapon has been added to the specific, from big to small to medium to quick, those types of weapons. So playing as David, you can be very physical. You could still be a physical character. He's almost a mixture of a tank and a support, but he's under the support tab. So that is very weird, because I think he would have been a great tank or a great warrior class, but I think I could get why. The warrior class with an ability to lower its fear level on the fly would basically mean you can stay and constantly eliminate Deadeye after Deadeye, not really giving the evil player a chance. And I understand for balance, I think that's why he's in support. Because if you could also keep your entire fear level, because if you play as a support, your life is not that strong unless you upgrade it with the cola cans, not the cola cans, but the pink F in the field. Then you can just open up your little level up menu and just increase his from there to make him that. So I guess he's not like that from the jump, which just creates a level of balance. And you really have to use David in the beginning as a support, but you can initially just make him into a brutal ass tank. I mean, I'm a low level with him. Like, I think I'm only level 5 with David, and I can move in, effectively sweep a zone, avoid the enemy player, and use my fireplace at the same time. So I think I can quickly get him to the befitting class that I think he should have been under. Now Mia, this is what's weird. She's under the warrior class, but she has a singular support ability. What do I mean by her singular support ability? Well, she has an ability that prevents her from being possessed. But she doesn't feel all that strong. Her strength is not that high. She's got high health because she's in the warrior class, better stamina, but she doesn't hit hard. She hits as if she belongs in the support class. Now, you're going to understand this is what I mean, because when I also get to the blacksmith, this is almost a theme where you think one class belongs in another class, but they play like the class they're supposed to be, but can be upgraded to the class you think they should have been. Like I explained with David, where, like I said, he starts off as a support, and he can become a warrior once you level him up. Not warrior class, he'll still be the support class. But Mia being the warrior class with support abilities means you could basically have a strong tank-like character if Mia can be leveled up, because I need to level up with her further. So Mia could prevent herself from being possessed. And that means the teammates would be safe. And this duration effect, you would have to level it up to see if you can hold it longer, but I think for now it's only 30 seconds of unable to be possessed. Her fear level doesn't stay low for very long, though. She gets a high fear rank, but I guess because that's how she was introduced in the movie. She was full of fear. She was also afraid of the thing chasing her. So the drawback to Mia is Mia gets a high fear rating, so you would have to really stick close in a team in order to probably utilize her more effectively. She's still good with the gun. She still can use heavy weapons, which is a good thing. But if you don't increase her strength, you will have to just keep swiping at a Deadeye, where my other characters, like my Army of Darkness Ass, I could swipe a Deadeye down maybe to 1 to 2 hits, and maybe 1 to 2 shots with the boomstick. But the fact that Mia is even in this game, it's still worth having. She is still a worthy addition. Every character does have their drawbacks, their strengths, their weaknesses that feel appropriate. It's just these three characters, like these three survivors, feel unique, but unique in the odd sense, not in the sense you'd expect, if that makes any sense. I think Mia should have been support. The blacksmith should have probably been a tank, actually. And David would have been the warrior. The classes would have felt more appropriate in the way they feel. They should be there. Like, the blacksmith hits like a fucking tank. Like, with his gameplay, you can kill a Deadite with your pair of hands and use the special kill ability to basically break them apart even further. But he has a different ability than everyone else that's rather could be broken if increased properly. You pick up crafting parts in the field. They're now this new green item that only the blacksmith can get. And one of his side abilities, which makes it kind of like his ultimate ability, is if you have a certain amount of materials, you can craft a random weapon or a random high tier weapon for not only yourself but for your team. That, I actually am going to admit, this seems rather broken. I think I might be not doubling down anymore on the stance of having him as a tank. I think he'll probably be more in the warrior section, if anything. The warrior section should be much good for him. Because having that ability, the fact that he doesn't even need a melee weapon to do a full-fledged kill on a Deadite. His hands hit like fucking baseball bats. Do you understand me? I've killed Deadites without even using a single weapon. Granted, it takes a little bit because I still need to work on his strength. But the fact that I can crack Deadite skulls with my raw strength alone makes the blacksmith an unexpected brute. And even though he didn't have a huge role in the movie, he only had, like, every character in that film was made to serve the purpose of Ash's story. But the fact that these characters in this game feel more important than ever makes it very unique, and they do change up the gameplay, especially when you're playing as the evil force itself. Now, the ups and downs with these characters are made apparent. The only criticism I could say about them is their abilities feel wrong for the class they should be, but they could still be utilized well enough. The only drawback with Mia is her fear level is high. I think the blacksmith might get nerfed because he is a little overpowered. The only balanced person is the David character. I mean, Mia does feel underpowered and the blacksmith feels overpowered, and David feels somewhere in between. But I'm pretty sure these characters will be subject to change and updates, and I wonder, will we get any new evil characters next? Will we get any new Deadite enemy types? I wonder what map could they add. They could probably add more maps from the television show that they have not added. There's plenty of locations in the Evil Dead franchise to open up for more levels. I think they gave us what people would feel the core stages that are more unique to the films, and you know what? That is still a plus in my opinion, because when you rather play in a world like Evil Dead, you want to be in the original world that it had set up, and then gradually make your way to its expanded content. Anyway, that's been my review for the Evil Dead DLC. I still think it's worth the buy, probably because I'm just a fan, but I at least told you that they do have some weirdness about this DLC. But if you haven't played the game yet and you're a fan, if it's gone on sale, I would say jump into it, enjoy the game. More content will most likely be coming soon because the developers clearly love this game. I'll see you all in the next video.